We're going to install Maven on a Windows 10 machine. Along the way, we'll learn some things that will make the process more secure when you do it on your own machine. Here we are in Windows 10, and we have a command window already open. To install Maven, we'll need Java on this machine. Let's confirm Java is installed by typing in java -- version. We get the banner for Java 11, so we're good. Interesting bit of trivia. If you have Java 8 installed and you type in -- version, you'll get an error message. However, if you type in just a single dash, you'll get the banner information for Java 8. Now let's see if we already have Maven installed. The command to run Maven is mvn, so let's run that. We get an error message, which means we either don't have it installed or it's not in our executable path. In our case, it's not installed on this machine. Let's fix that. First, we'll open a browser and search for Apache Maven. We'll click on the link that brings us to the Maven welcome page. Let's click on the download link. We see here that we'll be installing version 3.8.6 of Maven. Next, we see the system requirements to run Maven. They're actually quite modest. We will need to have the Java JDK version 1.7 or above. There's no memory requirement, and only 10 meg is needed for disk. So once again, the requirements are very modest to install Maven. Let's scroll down to see the files available for download in the Files table. We can download either the binary versions of the files or the source. We want the binary, and since we're installing on Windows, the zip file will be best. So let's select the zip file. That will start downloading our installation file. Next, let's download the corresponding checksum file for the zip file we just downloaded. To do that, we'll right-click on the link to the file in the checksum column that corresponds to the zip file we're downloading. We'll click on Save Link As. A dialog box will pop up and confirm the name of the file. Going back to the command prompt, let's cd into the downloads directory and run dir. We see that we have our zip file as well as our checksum file with the extension SHA-512. So what's the purpose of the checksum file? In this case, the SHA-512 file. The file contains a string of 128 hexadecimal characters, which is the output of the SHA-512 hashing function. The value represents the hashed form of the zip file we're about to install on this machine. It's a way to ensure that the file we downloaded from the Maven site was not corrupted in transit and gives us some level of confidence that the zip file is genuine and hasn't been tampered with. Should even one bit change in the original file since the hash was computed, the hash file will be different. Our Maven zip file is the data we start with. The SHA-512 hashing algorithm is applied to the data stream, and the result is a fixed-length hash value that's 512 bits long, which is converted into a hex string of 128 characters. Now that we have the checksum that was computed on the download site, we're going to compare that value to the checksum that we calculate locally. And if the two values match, then we know we've got the bits that were on the server at the Maven site and nothing changed or was corrupted in transit. To do that, we use the certutil utility, which is available in Windows 10. We'll type in certutil -hash file. We'll specify the name of the file we're going to hash, which is a zip file we downloaded. And then we specify the name of the hashing algorithm that we're going to use. The checksum file was calculated using the SHA-512 algorithm, so that's the one we'll specify in our command line. We hit enter and that will compute the value for us. We want to compare the value, so let's run this command again, but this time we'll save the data into a file. We'll call it temp file so that we can compare it to the .SHA-512 file that we downloaded. Now we have the temp file. Unfortunately, it's got extraneous information in there that we don't want. If we try to do the comparison to the file contents now, we wouldn't get a match. So we have to open up the temp file and make a small edit. Let's use Notepad to go in the temp file and get rid of the extraneous information. Let's enlarge this just a bit. We'll get rid of the line at the bottom. We'll get rid of the line at the top, so we have just one line of text, and we'll save that. Now we see that we have three files. Our zip file, the SHA-512 file containing the hash that was computed and stored on the server where the zip file came from, and our temp file containing the SHA-512 checksum we computed locally. Next, we have to compare the two checksum files to see if they have the same data. There are lots of ways to do this, but the simplest way in Windows 10 is to use the file compare command. Now we use the fc, or file compare command, to compare the contents of the temp file and the SHA file. We'll use the /L option to compare the files in ASCII mode line by line. Running the command, we see that the fc command returns no differences. So therefore, we can feel comfortable that our zip file is uncorrupted, since the checksum we got from the server and the one we computed locally match. Quickly, let's demonstrate what the file compare command looks like when it fails. Let's open up the temp file once again, zoom in. We'll add a capital X to the beginning of the string to make it different and save that file. Let's run the fc command again. This time we get a difference. Rather than saying no differences were encountered, we get a listing that shows the differences in the files, similar to what you would see if you ran a diff command in Linux, for example. So after this, we can feel confident the fc command is doing its job. Should we have gotten this output, indicating a difference in the two checksums, we would know that our zip file had been corrupted or tampered with, and we should not install the file since it may contain a broken Maven installation or even malware. Now we're ready to install the Maven download we got. I like to keep all of my development tools in a single directory. I'll put them in a directory under the C:/tools. I've already got that directory created. Let's open up a File Explorer window, and we'll click on Tools. There's nothing in that directory. Let's open up another File Explorer window, go to the Downloads directory, and move the zip file over to the Tools directory. Let's grab the name of the directory from the File Explorer and change directories in our command window. We'll run dir and see that our zip file exists. If you have WinZip or 7-zip installed on your machine, you can use either to unzip the file. However, if you don't have either of them installed, you can use the java jar command to uncompress the Maven zip file. We'll type in jar xvf and the name of the zip file to extract the files into the current directory. When that's done, we can go ahead and now delete the zip file since we don't need it anymore. Now we want to add the Maven bin directory to our path. Let's go to the Windows search bar and search for Edit Environment. That brings up a window where we can edit our environment variables. So we have a choice. We can either make the change globally, or we can do it just for our own account. We'll go ahead and do it just for our own account. In the top window, we'll select the path variable and then Edit. Let's go find the value that we want to add. So we'll go back to the File Explorer window, go to the bin directory under the Apache Maven installation, right-click, and copy address as text. Now let's go back and add that as a new location to our path environment variable. We'll click OK, and then OK. And now let's open up a new command prompt. Make it a little bit larger. And now we should be able to run Maven. So if we type Maven -- version, we see that we've installed Maven version 3.8.6 successfully on this machine. And let's go ahead and confirm that this version is what we actually downloaded. So if we go back to the Maven page where we downloaded the file, we can compare the two names and see that indeed 3.8.6 is what we downloaded. So we're all good and have Maven installed on our Windows machine. If you're using Maven on a Mac or Linux machine, don't worry. There'll be videos out shortly for them as well. Thanks for watching, and remember to always begin secure.